Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio. And today I have a two-step stamping card for you. That's one of my favorite kinds of stamp sets. And I'm glad we have it as the product of the month for July. It's called Begonia Belle. And you can see that we have, these are begonias. To me, they also look like roses. Obviously, the leaves are begonia leaves. We have a few sentiments down here. I really love You Are My Sunshine. I tell that to my grandkids all the time. I'm going to show you how we use these. I'm going to use about 8 of these on my card today, and I'll show you the card. I also wanted to show you what I do with my stamps when I get them. There is a thick sheet and a thin sheet of plastic, and what I do is flip it to the thick side, and I take my Sharpie marker and I draw around each of the stamps so that when I put my stamps back, I know where they go and I know what's missing. To me, that's easier than taking all the stamps and stamping them on either the back of this or another piece of paper that has to be put in somewhere. This is all right there, quick and easy to do that. I also take tape, clear tape, packing tape, and I attach the thin sheet to the thick sheet, and then when I'm using this, I can pull it back like this, and I don't lose the sheet. Have you ever done that, where you have the sheet, you removed it, put it somewhere on your desk, and then you can't find it? It's right there in front of you, but you can't find it. Anyway, that's what I do. So let's get to the card. Here's the card that we're going to make. I really like this in yellow. And I will say that this is the same color, the same 2 colors that I use. However, I did pink before it, and I think it kept a little bit of the pink, so this one's a little pinker than this one. But let me show you what it is that we're going to be doing. Like I said, we're going to do 2-step stamping, and this is a pretty easy card that we're going to do. And one of the techniques that we're going to use is called masking. And so what I do is I use sticky notes, and I will stamp on a sticky note and then pull up maybe 3 or 4 of them and cut out one. And then I have 3 or 4 masks ready to go. When I'm doing classes, of course, I'm going to go through masks faster because I have more people using them. But they can be used again and again, so until they get to the point where we can't use them or they're too saturated with ink or the sticky is gone, I'll keep them in my stash right with the rest of the stamps, and I'll just attach them to this so that when I'm working with this the next time, I'll have all of these here. So we will be using that. Excuse me. We're going to need just a few pieces of cardstock. You can see this is a simple card. I have best wishes. And then on the inside, sending lots of happiness your way. Look at that little flower. Isn't that cute? So we're going to need for the front, you can see the front has a smaller than usual piece, smaller than typical, because I wanted black to frame this to really make the yellow and the green pop. And then I have Granny Apple Green here for my base, and then some white. So the white layer that's on the front is 3 3/4 by 5. I have another piece of white on the inside, and it is our typical measurement for our first layer, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I have the black layer for the front, which is the same size as the other white layer, 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I have my Granny Apple Green card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Now you certainly could do a 4 1/4 by 11 and fold it. And this card could be done vertically if you like. Just put your sentiment down there. just decide that before you start to stamp, and then you can turn your papers the way they need to go so that your stamping is in the correct direction. And that's what I tell my ladies at class, that it doesn't matter which way you do it, just make sure you have it established in your head. And this is what I mean. So this piece here, I'm going to check it with this black piece, and you see that it is the piece that's going to go on the front. So I'm going to put that in front of me because that's the two-step stamp with the flowers that I'm going to need. And then this one here, this other white one, will be the inside. So now I have an idea of what it is that I'm going to need, and I have it in the correct direction. So I started with Daffodil Delight, excuse me, and I wanted to figure out two colors to use. You certainly could stamp off, and that's what some people do when they're doing two-step stamping. But what I did was I just typed in my computer, you know, you pull up a search window, and I just type what light Stampin' Up color goes well with Daffodil Delight. And it told me that Lemon Lolly would go well with it. And I agreed, it did go well. What I did on this too is, you can see I have a dot here so that people that were doing my class would know that's the upside. And what I have also done is I have written in permanent marker where it's indented the word dark. For me, that helps because then I know I want this stamp to be my darker ink. On my sheet here that goes inside the sleeve, I have also written on this one down here, you can't see it, but it says darker ink first and then lighter ink second. That's the way I prefer to do it. I know other people have their ways of doing it, but that's just a reminder to me that made it easier when I was doing this. All right, so I'm just going to get something to stamp on here. I don't want a crummy image, so we're gonna stamp this. And like I said, this is Daffodil Delight. Let me scoot this up so you can see what we're doing. And this one I want to go down just a little bit because I'm going to alter where I have the leaves. So that's my dark color. I'm going to leave that open because we're going to need that later. And then I'm going to do the Lemon Lolly. I have marked this the same way. I put light right here where it would not interfere with the stamp, and another dot at the top. And I purposely did it this way so that this part right here is going to go right over the white part in my image. And I'm a little bit away from it. I don't usually go that far away, but it looks like it did okay. It's harder when you're videoing because you can't be right in there like you typically would. But I'm just looking to line up those pieces, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But now we have a second image. I'm going to clean these so I don't get ink all over the place. Now I'm going to do green, and I did the same thing with the green. I started with Granny Apple Green because I liked that color, and again I used my search and said what light green in Stampin' Up! Colors would go well with Granny Green, and it said soft seafoam. So I went with it. So here is the Granny Green. It's going to be next. And before I do anything else, I'm going to put my mask on. And again, all this is I've stamped on a Post-it note. Let me show you. I don't have any special Post-it notes. My Post-it notes are just a typical Post-it note. Down here is where it's attached, and that's where the sticky part is. And so for this, what I'm going to do is obviously make sure that the stamped part of it, the bottom is right at the bottom. And you can't see it as well as I can, but that's what I do. I stamp on it, and then I take several sheets and cut several at a time. And then those are my masks. And I cut really close to the edge here so that I don't have a white line that shows up when I stamp. And obviously I would not do it with a yellow. I did it with a darker color so that it was easy for me to see when I was cutting around this. This would be very difficult to cut around because of the color. All right, so let's see here. I've got to put this down. All right, and then we'll put this one down. And you can get the idea from the shape of your flower. When I'm doing this one, I want to make sure that I have the mask down here lined up pretty well. And here, I want to make sure that the top is more lined up than the bottom. All right, so let's start with the dark color first, like I said. So I'm going to put my first green color there. That's pretty, isn't it? And then I'm going to add another one. Okay. And I wanted to balance this, so I put another one up here. See where this goes in, kind of like a heart? That's where I had the next leaf coming out. And then this one, I wanted to have the leaves coming out up here. So I did one here and then one here. I'm not going to worry about balancing this because down here is where I'm going to be putting the sentiment. So it'll have like a third element in there. So we're done with the granny apple. No, we're not. We'll leave that open because we need that for the inside of the card. So now I'm going to use the light color, which is the soft sea foam. And this has areas that will fill in. And because this is a light color, it may be harder to see. I found it very easy just to take the edge of the leaf and line it up. And you have a lighter color. And for you, it may be a little harder to see on the video, but there is a light green there. And maybe I need to re-ink my soft sea foam. But I can see the light green there. Ooh, I went out of the lines there. And that's okay. We don't panic. So you notice for this part, I left the masks on so that I didn't get anything on those pretty yellow flowers. Okay, so now I'm going to do the reveal. Let's see what it looks like. When you're masking, the stamp that you want in the front is always first. Front first. Then whatever you want to have behind that front piece goes next. Okay? So just remember, whatever's in the front, you stamp first. All right. So I'll save these masks for another time. So now I have this part. All I need now for the front is just to do the sentiment. And I'm going to wait because we have an inside sentiment to do too. Let's look at the inside now of the card. Not much that we need to do, but we'll move that out of the way. And I'll bring this forward. They have the cutest little leaf and stem. And you can put this anywhere. In fact, one of the ladies in class today put it up here so it would be next to the sentiment. So we have Granny Apple Green, and then you can see here, there's a little stem here and one here. And so we're going to take our yellow, and there are 2 flower buds, and we're just going to match them up here. And there we go. Now I can close these and we'll open our black ink and do our sentiments. Can you believe we have already used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stamps? So the last 2 we're going to be using. I told you there's 8 of them here. No, I ran out of blocks for classes this week because so many blocks for this one. All right. I want to tell you, one of the ladies today put too much room between the 2 flowers here, and she connected it by putting this sentiment there, which I thought was pretty clever. And maybe, no, I'll do that on the inside because I have a lot of room in there. So we're going to do sending lots of happiness your way, and then best wishes. It's kind of nice because this would be a general kind of card that you could use and then specify inside what it is you're celebrating. All right, so now we've used all of our cards. Let me cover up my ink here. All we need to do now is to put it together. So let's move this out of the way and pull in our mat. So we're going to take this and we're going to add adhesive or glue to it. Some days I am a total glue user, and other days it's just adhesive. It's whatever kind of mood I'm in, I guess. I don't know. All right. So now we have this, and we will add adhesive to this. And that will go on the front of the card. Let me scoot this one out of the way so I can pull in this one. And when I do this, can you see that? Even sometimes if you use your bone folder to flatten it, sometimes it will pop up. So I've started just opening it up like this and then positioning my card on top. Because now it's flat, I don't have to worry about it bouncing up and down. And then I can do the same thing here. I just flip it over so that it's flat. Add my adhesive, and I'm good to go. Pretty easy. This would be an easy card to mass produce. What I also did was I added a little bit of it's not actually bling, it's just little black things to it, embellishments. And I like to just put at least one of my embellishments by my sentiment, and then kind of make a triangle. You don't have to. I could do 2 of them here, and that would be fine too. So there's your card. Best wishes, sending lots of happiness your way. So that's the card today. I hope you like it. I hope you give it a try. And thanks for watching.